Today I'm going to talk to you about the GoPro Hero 7 and see if it stacks up to the GoPro Hero 5. So I wasn't originally planning on making another video today. I just got back from Detroit, but I saw this in my packages when I went to go to the package room today. And let me get this open while I'm talking. I'm not gonna do a real unboxing because you guys have probably seen GoPro unboxings at this point, but there is a nice little pull tab at the bottom, which makes it a little bit easier to get everything out. And so earlier, I made a video about whether or not I would upgrade to the Hero 7, and this was before they made the announcement as to what were the new specs going to be. And I listed out a couple of things that I really needed to see, otherwise I probably wasn't going to upgrade. We didn't get a lot of those things. The main thing I wanted was to be able to have like custom shooting modes. I don't have that, we're not getting that, but they are changing the interface a little bit, and hopefully that's gonna make things a little bit easier to use. The other thing that I was a little bit curious, let's get this out of here. Let's get this guy off. Here's the Hero 5. You can tell because it doesn't have anything written on the side. And let's put the Hero 7 onto my regular alligator clip and see how that fits. All right, looks pretty good. The case says Hero Black 7 on the sides, as does the camera itself. So there it is. I'm gonna take this piece of plastic off. I think this is like the suggested serving, like when you see a box of cereal. It's got a turtle underwater. Get that off of there. And then fortunately it uses the same battery as the old GoPros, but this is pretty nice. Let's get the battery in there. Let's make sure we can get it charged. Get this door open. Something else that I'm going to be looking for as I play around with this new GoPro is the gimbal-like stabilization. Initially, they weren't going so bold as to say that it's gonna be a gimbal killer or that you're never gonna need a gimbal again. Later kind of interviews and kind of product reviews, people have been saying that, and GoPro has been mentioning that in different interviews. So we'll see. Let's get this thing fired up and see how it does. I'm gonna customize it a little bit and turn off some of the noises and beeps and things like that. Here's a couple of things that I'm really excited about in terms of the way that they've changed the GoPro Hero 7, which I wasn't expecting or really didn't even think that I would find that interesting even if they had announced that or kind of leaked that ahead of time. And one is kind of the integration with getting the content from your GoPro to your phone, so you can either live stream it, which I don't really do, but also so you can share it and edit it and manipulate it that way. That's something that I find a little bit more interesting because if you've been following me on Instagram, you've seen that I've been taking more and more footage, not only from the iPhone that I normally shoot with, but I'm also taking some of the footage from the GoPro and putting that into my Instagram story as well. So being able to more easily get footage from the GoPro to my phone is going to be a big plus for me in terms of the way that I've been wanting to use the GoPro. Plus, the other thing that I do like is that there is a vertical video shooting mode now. And so that's important because yes, I could have always just held the GoPro this way before, but when you import footage that's held this way in the GoPro Hero 5, when it comes over to your camera, it comes over crooked, and there's no way, unlike a photo, to rotate a video very easily. And so again, that capability of taking the image from the GoPro and putting it directly onto the phone so I could very quickly upload it to Instagram stories, hopefully that will enable that workflow. Let me get this played around with a little bit, and then we're gonna go for a run.
All right, I'm gonna try out a couple of things today, a lot of things to test. I'm not gonna be able to test everything in one run today. I need to take it easy. Marathon's coming up in 1 week. But one of the things I want to test is there is some stabilization available at 1080 at 120 frames per second. And the hypersmooth is available at 4K 60 frames per second. So those are the two main things I want to test out. I also want to do some vertical video, and I'm going to do some of the hyperlapse. See how that goes. All right, I didn't get a ton of time to charge the battery before I headed out today, so battery's dying. Battery on my phone also happened to die, so I'm running out of test footage for today. But right now, just wanted to check how it was at 4K, 60 frames per second, and see how the hyper stabilization works. See how it's working out compared to some of what I would normally get. All right, here's 4K, 60 frames per second without stabilization on. So I got a little bit of a headwind, not too much. So we'll see how the wind rejection does a little bit, and also see how this footage compares.
6.38 miles, 7 minutes, 45 seconds per mile. Back from my first run with the GoPro Hero 7, and this thing is amazing. I've had a little bit of a chance to take a look at the footage that I was able to get today. I also tested getting the footage off of the GoPro and onto my phone to see if I could do that to quickly upload content to my Instagram story, and all of those things worked out really, really well. I'm still wishing that there was some way that I could quickly toggle between different shooting modes, like favorites that I liked. For example, I like shooting at 1080 and 120 frames per second. I also like shooting at 4K 60 frames per second. Now 4K 60 frames per second is not something I normally like, but this hyper smooth stabilization that they've developed for the GoPro Hero 7 is legit. It is seriously good. I just think it looks really great. I think that it's not hugely noticeable. It's not gummy, which is a lot of times the concern that I get when you're dealing with electronic image stabilization. They've struck a pretty good balance of being aggressive with the stabilization and yet making sure that the image doesn't get too warped. And so you're getting a nice effect. And so it makes it pleasant, I think, to look at, even though I might be running. The biggest thing, though, that I thought was super impressive, and maybe it's just the novelty factor, is that hyperlapse that you can do inside the GoPro. Again, getting to there while I'm running was a lot of swipes and taps. And I wish there were ways that we could improve that. But the actual result is amazing. I ran about 3/4 of a mile at a relatively relaxed pace. And when the footage came out of the camera, it just looked like I was riding a bike in terms of how smooth it was. And so that's something that no matter how much smoothing, warp stabilization you put on it in Premiere or in After Effects or in Final Cut, I just don't know how to do that. It's beyond my skill set. So that is giving me something that I couldn't otherwise do, which I think will be pretty interesting as something to incorporate, especially if I'm taking the GoPro to run in other cities. Like I was just up in Detroit. I think that would be a perfect thing to have in order to show people more on a like pace by pace basis rather than certain shots here and there, what a place looks like. And so I can see a ton of uses for that already. I'm going to bring that with me for the Chicago Marathon Expo. I've got a couple of other Nike events that I'll be going to this week in anticipation for the Chicago Marathon. I'm definitely going to bring the GoPro Hero 7 there, and I'm probably going to leave this camera at home. The CEO of GoPro said that he's amazed that YouTubers are still using big cameras, and he thinks anything bigger than a GoPro is a big camera to vlog. And so I'm going to really put that to the test. The real test will be the audio, so we'll see how that goes. But I don't really use a lot of audio in my videos anyway, and so I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. And so we'll see if this could be a replacement. The other thing that I did test were two other things. The zoom that's available, there's an electronic zoom. There used to be different shooting modes, like super wide, wide, medium, narrow, linear. Those went away, I think, with the Hero 6. But I don't have experience with that, so I've been playing with that a little bit. That's a really annoying setting to get to, and then really something that I wish we had some presets that I could get to, so that I could have like a narrow, 4K 60 or a narrow 1080, 120, or even 240 like setting, and then a regular 1080, 120 setting or 4K 60 setting that I could use for other footage. That would be really, really helpful. Still want that. I don't think I'm ever going to get it, but I wish that I had that, because using the zoom I think was pretty good. I'm not really sure how that zoom is working, if it's just a pure, image crop, or if it's doing something in terms of how the sensor is behaving. I'm going to look a little bit further into that to see what the exact mechanics are, but in either event, the implementation is pretty good and better than what I've seen on, say, for the iPhone, for example, when you zoom in there. And so I also tested the vertical video. I thought that worked out really well. And I also tested getting the content from my GoPro to the phone, and I thought that worked out really well too. I was able to get everything moved over relatively quickly. And for whatever reason, whenever I tried to download a video from the Hero 5 to my iPhone, it was always like it took me 3 or 4 tries in order to get one video downloaded. I don't know why that ever was. I always had problems with it, and it always took a really long time, a painfully long time. This, I was able to select like 6 or 7 videos, and they came over relatively quickly and all on the first try. So that was much better. I wish it could be faster. I'm always going to want it faster, but I was extremely impressed with how that worked. It wasn't quite as instantaneous and smooth as some of the commercials and other ads for the Hero 7 kind of make it look like it was going to be. Maybe that's because I'm not using the GoPro Plus kind of service. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it. I'm not really interested in that service. I probably won't be getting it. So I'm talking just from a going into the GoPro app, connecting to your phone, to your GoPro, selecting a whole bunch of videos and downloading to the phone. That worked out really well. With the one caveat being, one of the videos that I shot in was an HEVC, or the H.265, I think, and then that wouldn't come over to my phone. I couldn't get that. That was one of the vertical videos that I had shot, so that was a little bit disappointing, because the vertical videos is the exact type of video that I want to make sure I get onto my phone. And so I think I just have to make sure when I'm doing that, taking that kind of shot, I'm shooting it in the right, or not the right, but a different camera setting. So learning curve, user error, some things that I have to work on, lots to test. Let me know if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'd love to talk to you guys about it, answer what I can. It's still been very new. I'm very new to this camera, although I've been shooting with GoPros for several years. This particular one has some new things that are going to take some time for me to get used to. And also put in the comments, what are the comparos? You guys love asking me to compare things to other things, and I love doing that. So let me know what you guys want to see next. I've got a lot of other stuff that I've got to be filming for this week leading up to the marathon. So I'll be doing filming. I know I won't do a specific this versus that video as far as the GoPro Hero 7 this week, but next week for sure, that's the kind of content that's going to come out. So let me know what you want to see. GoPro Hero 7 versus Hero 5. Do you want to see GoPro Hero 7 versus iPhone? Hero 7 versus Sony a6300. Let me know the compares that you want, so that it gives me some time to think about different tests and use cases where I can really push the two cameras that I'm comparing against each other, and give some hopefully interesting results. I don't know who's going to win on any of these, and we'll see how they fare. So thanks so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yo, what's going on?